CUB board meeting's called to order. Any public? There's not any public, there's no public comment session to have. Do I hear approval from the minutes? So we have two of you guys, so one's gonna have to say, make a motion, the other's gonna second.
I'll make the motion.
I'll second.
All right, any discussion, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Motion carries. Approval of vouchers. Had an opportunity to review the vouchers. They've been in our packet, and they're also here for you to look at. Do I hear a motion to approve vouchers?
I'll make that motion.
And I'll second.
Any discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Motion carries. Monthly reports for May, Mr. General Manager.
Yes, you could direct your attention to what we start off with is the revenue and expense summary. We were quite pleased. Remember, this is a 3 payroll month, and that impacts substantially what our bottom line is. But we actually came out better than what we originally forecast for. So all of that's very positive. The industry has cranked back up for the most part, and we're seeing an improvement in the revenue. And I think, Dudley, if you'd like to make some additions on that, that would be great.
Well, I just say I had anticipated the electric department to be in the red as well as the water and sewer. So that was pleasing to see that we did come out positive in the electric department. Both departments are on way ahead of the forecast for the original budget. And all good, unless you got any questions.
Any questions? Do I hear a motion to approve the reports for May?
I'll make the motion.
And I'll second.
Any discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Motion carries. Project status reports.
Yes, sir. In the electric department, we're tracking 2 work orders that are both budget items. One is the aerial cable on the Tillery Road, and the other is off of West Wolf Valley. It's our second phase on that. All of that they're just starting up right now. Both of those are going to upgrade those loaded lines. Gives us more flexibility. On the West Wolf Valley, for example, we're pulling some of those utility lines from the backyards and in the field and bringing them back on the state right-of-way on the road, which we have been trying to do every time we upgrade any of these old lines. And this will also give us a tie-in to 25W and Emory Road, which helps us in our ability to balance and in our flizzer in order to shift some of the load on these lines, because this will be a major 3-phase line going in. So that's all just started, and it seems to be, we're looking forward to that working well. I'll be happy to answer any questions you may have.
Any questions?
That's all I have on that, Mr. Chairman. There is nothing in the water and sewer.
All right, we move on to approval of the CUB interconnection agreement / application.
The CUB interconnection agreement deals with our ability to have a solar interconnect agreement in anticipation, especially with TVA and their promotion of that. And I think that is something that will be continuing to grow in our future, and we're, in order to deal with that fairly and safely with all of our customers, we wanted to institute this interconnection metering agreement that will have to be abided by and signed by our customers looking to connect onto our system. If they don't want to connect to our system, which essentially sells excess power back to us, we don't have any problem at all as long as they're an island in what they do. If, however, they want to connect with us, then these procedures must be followed for safety.
Got to play by our rules.
You got to play by the rules, because if we've got a dead line and it's energized through the substation and through our circuits, and now we've got a generation source, which would be the solar, So that is actually producing power, then where we're looking at what would be a dead line could essentially be energized through their system. So we have to have these safety connections in there. And this document fully explains all of that, the responsibilities, the liability, and our also ability to inspect, and require certain hardware to be in place.
Do I hear a motion to approve?
Make that motion?
I'll approve.
Is there any discussion at all?
Do we have some customers now that we'll be going back to?
No.
To sign this agreement, or?
No, there are several with solar, but most of those are islands, to where they don't touch us. So we don't have that kind of
We
problem.
don't have to supplement them now, is what you're saying?
No, that's correct.
Good question. Any other questions or discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Motion carries. Move on to item 8, approval of CUB pension plan fiduciary oversight review.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. The state has required some, I guess the best word is wordsmithing.
You're jumping one.
I'm sorry. Dudley, this is the pension plan review. If you,
This is our quarterly review.
Right.
You're familiar with it. Of course, as you know, the quarter didn't turn out that well as far as the earnings, but it has bounced back strongly since. Get to the right page here. I've gone too far. I had it. Anyway, we lost about 17% for the quarter in our,
if you would have let me go, Dudley, you wouldn't have had any of this problem at all.
There we go. There we go. I thought I had it.
You did.
There it is. Tell you, we lost 17% for that quarter. And as you know, it was just a tough quarter in the market. I was actually quite familiar with that.
So yeah, the equity markets were down 39%. So that gives you a sense of the downside protection built into our pension plan. Downside protection is a term that investment managers use when you have a market environment like we had in March. How does the portfolio stack up against the other benchmarks? One of the benchmarks would be the S&P 500. And as I said, it was roughly down anywhere from 35 to 39% during this time period. So the portfolio is doing well. I would imagine that it is recovered, if not fully. We may be down year to date a few points. So what does all that mean? It means that we have a diversified asset allocation that is not only across different asset classes, but also economic sectors. And I'm pleased with, I know it's crazy to think we're down 17%, but I'm very pleased with the way the portfolio performed.
Well said.
Do you have anything else to add to that, Dudley?
I would say, at that time, we were at, our balance was at 13 million. And today, we're at 14,245,000. So, no, at the ending balance there was 11,603,000, and today we're at 14,245,000. So that gives you a feel for how much that's bounced back.
Yeah, recover. And so every so often, what we'll do is they'll stress test the pension plan, and they call it a Monte Carlo simulation. And what it'll do is it'll take thousands of economic models and markets, and it'll spit out a number of the likelihood. And so the last time that I spoke with our gentleman, the Monte Carlos the numbers all were good. A well above average and well above where this pension needs to be. Because, you know, you project if we have a lot of people retire and all of a sudden the pension plan is starting to pay out, and then if we have a downturn in the market, it can really stress the portfolio. But every time we've met, I've been satisfied, and we've got good professional people doing good work for us. Do I hear a motion to approve the fiduciary oversight review?
I'll make that motion.
I'll second.
Any discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Motion carries. Now, Mr. General Manager, the floor is yours.
With that, as a follow-up, there is some wording that the state is required in the funding policy, strengthening, and we've got that red line for you. You can see when they're going from the Clinton Utilities Board retirement plan to the pension plan, that gives you a sense of the wordsmithing that's required. So unless, Dudley, if there's any flag that you see in there, I don't know of what else to tell you other than it just wordsmiths this, doesn't essentially change anything.
Satisfies the state.
That's right.
With what they want.
We changed happy to glad.
Exactly right.
That's all right. Do I hear a motion to approve?
I'll make that motion.
I'll second.
Motion and second, any discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Motion carries. Approval of bad debt write-off.
Annually, we go through, and throughout the year, we have reserves in anticipation of write-offs. And Dudley is going to talk a little bit more about this to show you the improvement that we have made to our actual write-off accounts and how they net out. With our decisions that we gave our customers options to defer payment, we are anticipating that is going to have a downward pressure on our bad debts. And but this report doesn't fully reflect that, because while we have allocated reserves in anticipation, we don't assign it to a write-off until we have determined that they're uncollectible with whatever means that we have that's available. And then we essentially write them off and turn them over to a collection agency in hopes that somewhere down the line we can see something come back. Most of the time, a customer that leaves us with a debt that they do not pay, over time, they'll come back around and move back on our system, and that's when we do most of our collecting. But Dudley, if you want to share this, how it's charged the reserves and how it nets out,
Sure.
our write-offs would be great.
What we're writing off this year is this $86,000. And really, that's customers that were billed through March that hadn't paid and aren't making any attempt to pay, and they've moved off. But as Greg said, through this COVID relief, we've set up about 400 customers on payment plans. Either through, about half of that is on the FlexPay system, and half of that is on like a loan, and they pay so much every month. So the real impact of what COVID's gonna do to our bad debts, we won't see until next year. Because right now, they're paying, but they may not pay, they may leave tomorrow and just leave us with that. And that adds up to about as of today, it's about $130,000. But we've already put it in the accounting reserve as a potential write-off. So it won't impact the financial statements, but it will impact this number next year if they skip. But they may all pay, you never know.
So I think the takeaway from the board here is, and Steve, so FlexPay was a program that was initiated, as you can see there on the screen, in 2014. And what that's done is it's been an innovation that our leadership here at CUB has put into place to help people with the ability to pay over time. And you can see the results, and that speaks to the strength of our utility, It speaks to the innovation of our utility, the vision of our utility. We were back in 2009 around $330,000, and it continues to go down, and now we're at 86. And I know that number is going to float around, but that's cost savings, that's fiscal responsibility, and that's solid management. And I just want to make that comment.
That's correct. We couldn't do any of that if we didn't have the AMI system out there to where we can read the meters every day. Because basically, and you've never seen this, and I'm not going to show it all to you, but here's the way we sell that program. It's like keeping gas in your car. So instead of paying a deposit, these people pay so much up front, and then as the energy uses down, it will send them text alerts and email alerts saying, hey, you're about out. You need to buy some more. And that's why you see a lot of activity at this kiosk. So they're always, as long as they got gas in the tank, the car goes. And that's what that program does. We couldn't do it without the AMI system, the technology. That's why KUB doesn't do it. That's why Oak Ridge doesn't do it. Follett doesn't do it. Very few do it. We were really one of the first in this part of the state to do that. So
And we started when, Dudley, with that program? You told us.
started in 2013,
13, okay.
and we've worked up to about we're almost 2,500 customers, which is 9.75% of our residential customers, and that's probably about where it's going to hold, because you're not going to get on FlexPay. None of you all are, but the younger generation really likes it because they don't have to pay a deposit. And because they're paying ahead, they never have a late fee. And it's all automated for us, so if it cuts it off and then they pay, it automatically turns it on, so they don't have to pay reconnect fees. So it's a win-win for everyone. And studies show that the program actually saves that customer money, not only in the fees, but in their usage, because they know every day how much they're using.
It's all on their cell phone.
They don't waste energy when they're down to $15. All the lights aren't on, all the TVs aren't on. They adjust the thermostat.
Like it was back in the 70s. Shut that door.
That's right.
Turn them lights off.
That's right.
Dudley was the champion of this because this program had to be worked through Central Service Association. Dudley was the leader on the technology board and pushed to have this option because we saw the need for our customers. You've got someone that has a very high bill, and then they write a bad check to pay for that bill, which gives them more time, which means at the end of the day, they owe $800 and they can't pay it, so the lights go out. This option gives them, we turn the lights back on, and then they pay a third, 30% of whatever they buy in electricity, $30 out of every 100. Is that right, Dudley?
Yeah, that's on a bad day, on a
Right.
prior bad day.
Right.
So if they buy $100 worth of electricity, 30 goes to their old debt, and
But it gets the lights on.
70 goes in the gas tank.
Right.
So, works real well for them.
Doug's been requested, and he's done meetings all over, and we've had folks from other utilities come here, and he's put the how-to, but you can't get there unless you've got the technology in the field, and most don't have that.
Any other
That's all we have on that.
But I'll show you the recovery, the way that, and that's where that 30% comes in, and you see it ballooned up when we started doing that. It's gone back down, but the reason it's gone back down is because we're writing off less.
Yeah.
And then if you net the two together, so you got your write-offs, less your recoveries, that's really about where your write-offs were for the year. So $46,000 net write-offs
On an $85 million show,
is 55 1/1000th of a percent. And there's not very many companies that can and say they can do that.
Great.
For approval though, Mr. Chairman.
Do I hear a motion to approve?
I'll make that motion.
I'll second.
Any discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Thank you. Other business?
Other business, next month, we try to annually bring you up to speed to let you know how our hospital self-funding program goes, and we'll be looking at that next month, where we stand financially and where the premiums have gone out and the cost associated with that in terms of claims and everything else. So we're always proud of that because it always looks real well. So we'll look for that next month, and we've already gone over you should have a copy of the memorandum for the additional steps that we're taking towards COVID-19, and that's all I have,
Thank you.
Mr. Chairman.
If there's any other business coming before this board, I'll move to adjourn.